Hey, welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Show, a podcast where we make connections through the lens of video games and all things pop culture. We're your hosts, Jared and Mauro.
Hey, I'm Mauro.
Please let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet, and be sure to follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Links to them are down below. And with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time.
Do you remember where you were mentally when you saw the first trailer for Ben 10 Alien Force with the new aliens and all that stuff? Like, what did you make of that back then?
Oh, God. That's such a tough question because, like, you know, that's obviously, like, 2009, 2010-ish, I think.
Thereabouts.
Right? And, you know, I'm sure I was just watching Cartoon Network. And I'm pretty sure it's just a standard trailer of like, hey, coming up, you know, brand new, you know, Ben 10 is back or whatever the hell. And I'm sure I was super excited. Like I don't know, man. I was like 10. I don't remember that year.
Let me give you maybe like a bit of where I was to see if you understand my question better.
Yeah.
When I don't remember the exact place I was when I first saw the trailer, but I do remember going to school the next day and talking with my friends about it because I didn't exactly understand the premise just yet. It was just trailers and TV spots. But I did remember seeing aliens like Swampfire and Big Chill, whose names I didn't know just yet. But I remember Swampfire looked like Heat Blast.
Heat Blast
and I'm like,
Wildvine.
Oh, this is like the new Heat Blast. Oh, Heat Blast and Wildvine, like, is it Wildvine?
Yeah.
Yeah, Heat Blast and Wildvine merged. And then I would see Big Chill, and I'm like, oh, he's blue, so Accelerate must have merged with somebody else.
Ghost Freak,
like,
yeah.
Ghost Freak, right? Something like that. Yeah, I assumed it was that. I assumed it was like evolution, like Pokemon or something. I was really excited for it. My thought is I loved Ben 10 Alien Force before it even came out because of things like that. And then there was this little TV spot, which was, I think, maybe like 5 minutes that showed Ben and Gwen and Kevin, right? All on the same side fighting something else. I think it was a dragon. It must have been like the dragon from the first episode or the second episode or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh man, is Kevin going to be a good guy? Is this going to stick around? Is this like that? Like he's good now. He's with them. He's with us. Right.
Yeah. And
I was so happy when that actually did come into fruition because Ben 10 and Ben 10 Alien Force specifically did this a lot with characters that I did want to end up being good so that they get more screen time, and with characters that I don't really care too much about, but still it did it. And that permeated all throughout Alien Force, and I just want to know how you felt about the changes, how you felt about, like, before it even started, like how excited were you about it, and in what way?
I think that's a really hard thing for me to answer just because, Ben 10 was one of my first like hyperfixations as a kid alongside of Pokemon and Transformers, right? Ben 10 was always there. And, I was a weird kid where like I would have phases in my life where I would only like one thing at a time for like a few months and then move on to the next thing, Right. But then, like, I don't know how old I was when I got over that, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can like multiple different things at the same time. But Ben 10, I've always had a major affinity with it because I feel like I see myself in Ben. Like, I relate to Ben a lot in a lot of different levels, I think, and it's just one of those original shows that I can't really think of a lot of shows even nowadays that has a such an original concept to it, even though it's still taking inspirations from like superhero shows, comic books, magical girl stuff, like transformations and all that stuff. Like, there's those elements, but they're all blend. It's a unique show. It's a unique series. It's a unique franchise. So I'm sure, I can only assume that once promotions of Alien Force was coming out, because Ben 10 Classic ended in 2008, and so did Alien Force Begin in 2008. Like, it was right after the other. So it was like a continuous stream of Ben 10, and especially like counting with Ultimate Alien, which again picked up right after, and Omniverse picked up right after. So between 2005 and 2014, Ben 10 was dominating Cartoon Network. It was always there. So
yeah.
I don't think I was ever like, surprised or anything of like, oh shit, a new season or whatever, like I would with some shows now. Okay. I think it was just like, okay, I'm excited for the next thing because it was always present, if that makes sense.
And I love the way they did it because Ben 10 itself, the OG, had like 3 or 4 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. And then Alien Force came out and it was a new show.
And a few movies. And a few movies.
And a few movies, that's right. But I want to talk about the movies and the games a little bit later because I have played a couple of the Ben 10 games.
Yeah.
And the movies themselves, there were Did they have any? I know that original Ben 10 had this weird 3D movie, but it also had the live action one.
It had the Third Dimension movie, there's a live action, and then there was the classic animated one, which was Secrets of the Omnitrix, which was really cool, which I think was like the finale technically to the series.
Yeah. Okay.
That's when Ben turned into way big and like chucked Vilgax to the other end of the galaxy.
Right, yeah. Speaking of, okay, all right. Just because I always have something bad to say about something, even if I don't mean to. The only gripe I have with Alien Force is Vilgax's design. That's it. I don't like it, dude.
Wow.
Not that I don't like it, but I prefer his original design. He had beadier eyes. His mouth had this like black. His lips were black, and then it kind of connected to those two things to the side of his head. In Alien Force, he looked a little too.
He's buff.
Well, he's buff. Yeah, no, he's always been buff. But he's a little too plain. Like his mouth.
I agree. It's weird seeing his mouth move, and I think the biggest hurt on Vilgax's design in Alien Force is Steve Bloom no longer voices him. It's a different voice actor, and to me, that's like, it's weird because, Steve Bloom, of course, is an incredible voice actor in his own right. He's one of the best of our generation, and he also voices Heat Blast in the same show, right? He's the voice of Zeb in Star Wars Rebels. He's Spike from Cowboy Bebop. He's Wolverine, right? He's Tom from Toonami. Legendary voice actor.
Tom?
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Nice.
What Steve Bloom did with Vilgax, it made him sound sinister, right? It made him sound mysterious, right? It gave him a different sense of like villainy other than just like, I am the big bad guy. And that's what we got in Alien Force, I think, with the new voice. It's just like, Ben 10, I have come to kill you. Is now a bad time? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just like, it's
I
too.
remember that.
It's too.
I didn't like that too much either.
It's too standard comic book supervillain.
Yeah, but even the fact that that's a direct quote. Ben 10, I'm here to kill you and destroy your planet. Is that a bad time?
Yeah, that's like his first line that he says to Ben in that episode.
I don't like that he took the jokey approach there, but that's not necessarily on the voice actor. That's the writing.
Yeah.
Regardless, aside from that, like that's it. That's literally the only gripe I have with Alien Force.
They somehow nerfed Vilgax and yet still like made him even more powerful, which is also like, we'll get there. That's season 3.
Let's start with season 1.
Yeah. Season 1, man. Well, I think the best way to go about looking at Alien Force, it's 3 seasons, right? The first 2 seasons is the entire hybrid DNA alien arc, right? With Ben and the gang like uncovering this alien conspiracy with the hybrids, and then building up their own little plumber team, an alien force, right? To go against that, save the world.
Oh!
Did you just realize what Alien Force meant?
Yeah. It's like a shoe just finally dropped.
Yeah, because like every member of that team is like part alien or can turn into aliens or has some powers.
Got some. Yeah. Damn, that's good.
Yeah.
Can we go through them real quick? You know, we got the Tennysons, Kevin. We got that forearms species
Manny.
and that accelerate species. Emmett.
Manny is the Tetraman, the forearms. Helen is the accelerate.
Helen.
Alan is the heat blast.
That's true. That kid that's like half alien. He can turn into heat blast. Okay.
Yeah. There's Cooper.
There was also Cooper, the blonde kid. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Dark Star.
Ugh. Whatever.
And Julie with Ship.
Julie?
And yeah, Ben's girlfriend.
She was shit. What?
Julie with Ship, the tiny upgrade dog.
The upgrade dog. Yeah. Oh man, I forgot about that. Okay, yeah. So that was a decent little force that they had. Okay.
And if you want to include Azimuth and Paradox, yeah. Oh, and Pierce, the hedgehog guy. Forgot about him.
Oh yeah, right. That's true. I mean, okay, yeah, they had a decent. All of the people in the final battle. That's why I consider, right? I like that. I like that about season 1. It was them. At first, it was I assumed that and for the longest time up until I like did my little recap, I thought that all of season 1 was them like trying to find out about Max, but they find Max in like 6 or 7 episodes in.
Yeah, episode 6.
Yeah, dude, I love that. I love that they didn't drag it out.
Yeah.
That they didn't move unnecessarily.
Yep.
There was a little, there was that mystery at the beginning, that push that they needed, and then eventually they do find him. But then the story continues because it's not just about finding Max. It's kind of like, well, yes, Max was missing for a reason, and then this is the reason. You guys are moving up, right? We're leveling up, guys.
Yeah, I really like how tonally the show shifts from the original, right? It's more grown up, right? Like I see it I see this change similar to Avatar The Last Airbender to Korra, right? Where the tone shifts, like it becomes a little bit more mature, so we're dealing with like a little bit more mature stuff, right? The storyline, of course, noticeable for having matured over time because our characters again have grown up, right? It's taken a darker tone with more complex plots. More characters are actually dying. There's a good bit of humor, but it's toned down a bit compared to the original show. I think. I think everything about all these changes from classic really does well, especially with the aging audience. Like us.
True.
Like us.
That's true. I mean, Ben 10 came out in 2005. We were around 5 years old. By the time Alien Force came along, we were only like 8 or 9, but still, like we were growing. We were growing alongside Ben, and they didn't just throw that new maturity at you, right? It kind of there was a steady. I want to say climb up to that. Yeah. Because obviously Ben 10 OG was, I want to say, like the epitome of Saturday morning, mid 2000s Saturday morning cartoons.
Saturday morning, Monster of the Week, right?
Pretty much.
There was no like big overarching plot, right?
Aside from just Vilgax out there.
Yeah,
right?
It's just like he's the constant threat that's like looming, but like we don't really get to those big like story moments like until it's usually saved for beginning of the season to late end season, like the final few episodes, and usually they're very standalone compared to like everything else. Like the whole thing about the original is just like it's a summer vacation show, and they just run into like weird alien stuff every week.
Meanwhile, in contrast, right, with Ben 10 Alien Force, you had a lot of part 1s, part 2s.
Yes.
Right, War of the Worlds part 1, Vengeance of Vilgax part 1 and part 2. Right, so it was a lot more episodic.
Yes.
And I appreciate that, because that was coming out at around the same time that Adventure Time was coming out, and even though Adventure Time is lot more cartoony, it did get serialized a bit. And I feel like that at least at the age that I was at, that was pretty much the perfect blend of lighthearted cartoonishness, but hold on, serious. You gotta pay attention. Some of these characters are gonna be coming back.
Yeah.
You can't just, it's not just like a tune in every now and again and see what's up, right? Because you might get a little lost if you didn't see the Helen and Manny episodes when they left and entered the null void. You'll be pretty confused 5 episodes later when they're calling from the null void asking Ben for help.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Every episode does a great job of being self-contained while also adding to the overarching plots with the hybrids and stuff. Like you just said, there's that episode when they're gonna fight the void. I think the episode's called The Void or something like that. We meet we have a comeback of a classic villain, Animo, right? And there's that whole everything that's happened within that episode in terms of what happened inside the null void, self-contained, right? They defeated Animo, cool. They saved the null void from being, terrorized or whatever. But yes, the added benefits of watching that for the overall arc is, you're right, recruiting new members for the titular alien force, which will pay off at the end. We don't really know when these things will pay off. Like Alan, he was episode two or 3, right? He was like the first plumber kid that they found.
Yeah, episode 3.
And he didn't come back till like the end of season 2 or something.
But it rewards you for keeping up. It rewards you for keeping up, and it's not one of those shows like Young Justice where they do make it serialized. Like season 1 was very episode of the week standalone with an overarching thing, and then season 2 is just too much. Just way too much happen. Every single episode, like 3 or 4 storylines get added in, and it's just constant over and over and over again, like more information.
Yeah.
And it does tie it up towards the end, but it a lot of the times it feels like too much. Like I'm forgetting a lot of things. Keeping these episodes self-contained, where it's like, hey, big lore drop here in this one episode, and then let's give you a little break. It really does. Like when Alan came back, when Darkstar came back, when Helen and Manny came back, it felt like, oh, I remember these guys, and I remember that they played a big part, but I didn't need to have them popping up every single episode and just have like 5 minutes of them doing this and then move back to the main cast. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It was still very much the Ben, Gwen, and Kevin show for a bit.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind. Like that's what I love those characters. I love. Let's talk about the characters for too, because there's a lot of growth.
Yes.
In these, like none of these characters are static. Obviously Kevin is the main one that I'd like to talk about, but like Gwen grew a lot in between Ben 10 and Alien Force. She's a lot more mature. She's a lot more softer, I guess, more understanding,
right.
Which makes sense. She was 10. She's
not nearly as fiery or short-tempered as she was in the original series.
Right,
and
right.
She shows as much more concern and caring attitude towards Ben as well.
Yeah. And it's not that they never loved or cared about each other. There were a lot of really sweet moments between them. Yeah, but
they were kids. They were gonna fight. Yeah.
Right. But in Alien Force, it really feels like this is family. This is family. Yes. This is them growing. This is the natural progression. With Kevin though, Kevin's always been an outsider, but I love how he became part of the family.
Yeah.
There were a lot of sad moments with Kevin, or maybe even bittersweet, like when he got the plumber's badge for real. And they asked him, like, oh, like, where are you going to go? Like, what are you going to do with that? And he goes, I'm going to show my mom.
Yeah.
Man. His whole relationship with Gwen, like, that was also very sweet. It didn't, I don't know if it came out of nowhere because in Alien Force itself, it's pretty, like, I think, like, 2 or 3 episodes in, Gwen was like, so, like, when are you going to ask me out? Like, come on.
No, that was not until, like, that's late show.
No way.
Yeah,
that was before
that exact line. Yeah, that's late show.
Listen. There's one scene at the beginning of an episode where Ben is looking at Max's plumbing badge, and he's looking at that hologram. He's like, Ben, don't look for me. I have the Omnitrix, whatever. And then in the background, it's Gwen being like, so when are you gonna ask me? Like, how come you haven't asked me out yet? And Kevin's like, well, the guy has to ask you. You can't ask me out. The guy has to ask you out. That was clearly before episode 6, since Ben still didn't know where Max was.
Oh, okay. I just misremembered.
No, but like it didn't, the actual like them being a thing, I didn't even think that happens until season 2 when Big Chill gets pregnant. Sorry,
I love that episode so much. It's so weird, it's so wacky, but like that's God, I love that. Hold on. Okay, I don't want to get ahead. Yeah, I love Kevin and Gwen's relationship. I think it's natural. Like it started like since episode 1 where like Gwen was asking like, Kevin, can you please help us? And he's like, well, first like he was asked by Ben. He's like, no way, I don't want to help you. Then Gwen asked and he's like, okay. Like he looks at her, his face changes, and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I love that. And like, you know, later in that episode where like they were driving to that DN alien like secret base or whatever, you know, Ben was getting frustrated about where Max is, and like, you know, they have to be there as soon as possible. They have to like get there as fast as possible, and you know, he's worried and all that stuff. And he snaps at Gwen, and the way Kevin reacted to that, you know, he like immediately pulled over the car and he was like, do not talk to her that way. A very nice, soft, protective side while also putting Ben in his place.
Yeah.
Major change in character.
Kevin was never a bad person. He did bad things because he was a troubled youth.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to remember this in OG Ben 10 when he's like this giant buff amalgamation of aliens, right?
Yeah.
He was 11 years old. This was an 11-year-old kid who was angry, indignant. According to him, his parents didn't want him because he was a freak or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that there's layers to that. I think that maybe he ran away because the relationship that he seems to have with his mom in Alien Force, that does not seem like the type of woman to just throw her kid out onto the street because he's got weird powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his dad, we find out, ended up being a plumber. So I think Kevin was just a troubled youth who ran away from home and made himself believe that nobody wanted him, that he was unlovable or something like that. So when he sees that type of compassion coming from Gwen, of course he's going to latch on. And yeah. But I do like how Kevin grew out, so to speak, of that like angry evilness, right?
Yeah.
And it was literally just because people showed him compassion.
Yeah, it's a great way to redefine a villain, like, you know, enemies to friends type of relationship, and him and Ben become best friends. You know, as this show goes on, as Omniverse goes on, even, you know, when we flash forward to Ben 10,000 era, you know, like regardless of that one episode in Classic where, you know, Kevin came back out of prison or whatever to take revenge on Ben, like still like they become best friends, and that's still like a complicated relationship even in the future.
Yeah. And one thing I do like about Ben 10, I guess the universe, is that the future isn't set in stone. Now, I'm not even going to get into like if it's multiple timelines or whatever. I just know
definitely. That. Are you kidding me?
I just know that you can change that. You can change the future. The future is not set in stone. Ben literally goes back in time and stops something from happening.
Multiple times.
Right? But so
there's an episode. Ooh, I don't know. No, I think I'm thinking Omniverse, where is it Omniverse? It's so hard to tell because sometimes the animation styles blend. It could be Ultimate Alien. I don't know. But
describe it.
It's an episode where it is Omniverse. It's where multiple different versions of Ben are being recruited by Albedo, and Paradox and Prime Ben are also doing the same thing. And there's like a whole multiversal Ben like showdown, and like there was one Ben being recruited by Prime Ben that didn't have an Omnitrix. The only Ben without the Omnitrix in the multiverse. And I think it was up to that Ben to make sure like certain events in the Prime Ben's timeline happen. Like Prime Ben originally getting the Omnitrix. Like he had to like do something specific to make sure that happens, and he does that all across time. And it's like a
that
crazy.
had
So
to
like
had to be Omniverse because I
it's
did not
so
remember
crazy.
that at all.
It's so crazy. But yeah, so timeline, multiversal shit, it happens. Also, I like that it takes a minute to like get to that stuff, kind of, with Ben 10 as a series in general. You know, I think it's more excusable for Ben 10 to really go that far into like, you know, scaling threats or whatever, because it's more fantasy and science fiction than most other like franchises out there. I think like it just fits. It makes more sense,
and it doesn't feel forced. A lot of these like scaling shows, I love harping on Dragon Ball Z for this, so I'm gonna use it again as a comparison. Sometimes the scaling gets out of hand because you're not really thinking about that, like the creators themselves, right, aren't thinking about that type of like what Goku is going to be fighting 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So you end up finding like Goku's fighting Beerus, the destroyer of worlds, and you think, well, yeah, he's equipped to fight him now, but I mean, what if Beerus had woken up 10 years prior, like, you know, when Goku was still fighting on Earth? Like, it does. Certain things just kind of don't make sense when it comes to that type of scaling, but Ben 10 never really felt like the scaling was too out of nowhere. The timeline stuff always fit. Vilgax has always been Vilgax.
Yeah.
Ben having like access to these crazy ass aliens like Alien X or Way Big, or even like the upgraded aliens and stuff like that, it makes sense that he, like, that's always been there. He just didn't have access to it. The Omnitrix, was locked. It didn't, or even like Alien X. I brought that one up on purpose because it's supposed to be the most OP alien in the entire Omnitrix, right?
Yep.
But it comes at a cost. You use them at the risk of staying in space talking to two floating heads forever.
Yeah.
And then you become like a giant paperweight. Like, so there's a lot of stuff where it's like the scaling isn't weird because these elements have always been there. But in some way, shape, or form, they dealt with them differently, right? But like Ben wasn't going to fight Vilgax head on at 10 years old. In fact, he did actually, and Vilgax just kind of like turned his Omnitrix off. So when he does fight him again later on, that sort of thing makes sense. And then in order to keep things fresh and not just keep reintroducing the same villains over and over and over again, they kind of like lean into things that they've hinted at in the past, such as like the omniverse, right? Multiple universes and stuff like that.
I think all of that like goes to show how talented the development team is, how the writers are in catching all these things. Like, I don't know if you know this, but one of the developers of this show, of this series, his name is Glenn Murakami, and he has worked as he has worked as an animator, artist, character designer, director, and producer for Teen Titans, Batman Beyond, Teen Titans Go Now, and of course Alien Force and Ultimate Alien.
Wow.
So that, and also one of the composers for this show is Christopher Carter, who has also worked for who has also worked on Batman Beyond. So I recently found this out and I'm like, oh my god, no wonder I love this show even now, and why like years later I fell in love with Batman Beyond, because there's like so many, I see like a lot of similarities between Terry McGinnis and Ben's like kind of growth, right? Because, you know, going back to our favorite characters and how much they've changed. Ben, this is 5 years after the original show, right? He is now 15. Ben needs to figure out how to fill into a leadership role with Grandpa Max's disappearance, right? He has a new Omnitrix, new aliens, all that stuff. And over these past 5 years, Ben has matured a lot and has gained a lot of strength, leadership, and wisdom, but still has a lot more to go, especially since he is forced into this position where he's like, okay, we're alone. We need help. We need to gather a team. Okay, cool. There's this giant threat that's going to destroy all existence, all like everyone in the universe. Okay, I need to step up. And he does. But every great character has their faults. And whenever like Ben achieves like a great like feat, like saving the universe, he gets cocky and overconfident in himself, you know? So like that's also a good little crutch that he always has to like relearn pretty often, especially when he gets new powers, new aliens, when he powers up, when he gets like the ultimate forms and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I like that because it shows that like any person, any human, you don't just learn a lesson once and then you just are automatically better and you automatically retain all of that forever. No, you have to sometimes relearn the same lessons so it can really stick. And Ben is a great example of that. And that's to me why, like I mentioned earlier, I resonate a lot with Ben. I think I resonate with Ben 10 more than any character in fiction.
Really?
I think so. I've been thinking about that heavily for like the past week or so, and I don't know, it's just like a lot about Ben and how, especially in Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, like coming into that leadership role that like resonates with me a lot, and also like going through these mistakes. You know, yeah, keeping your ego in check is hard sometimes, especially when you're proud of what you do. You know, and I think that goes with anybody who's in a leadership position. So I think like that, and like, you know, the sides of him that are fun and witty and still like his short, I don't know, it's hard for me to describe specifically, but I just feel that, you know, like I also resonate a lot with like Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. There's like other elements of that too, but I think the core thing is that leadership thing. You know, like I think the core values of Ben that I resonate the most with is how we see him struggle into growing into this leadership position of like, and taking the responsibility and like finally like understanding the weight of his powers, of the Omnitrix, like the full responsibility. Like with great power comes great responsibility. And I love how, like, you know, Man of Action, who created this show, like, you know, this is obviously a comic book show, right? This is a superhero comic book show, and there's all these great lessons from amazing comic book characters like Spider-Man infused with Ben 10, and we also get to learn that stuff through Ben. And I don't know, I think that just helps me grow too, or has helped me grow too.
No, I definitely see that, especially with what you were mentioning about how growth isn't linear. There are a lot of episodes where Ben gets more, like, he gets given some more privileges by Azimuth or whatever, and he uses it to the best of his ability, and he wins, and he does let it get to his head a little bit, because, and understandably so. At the end of season 2, I mean, you know, he Azimuth just kind of gives him full access to the Omnitrix.
Yeah.
He has access to everything, and then I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's like something happens and it resets or something.
Oh yeah, he rewrote the DNA structure of every hybrid in the galaxy, and
there we
that
go.
Giant discharge of energy just resetted the Omnitrix.
And real quick, before I continue, that scene at the end of season 2, where he basically talks with the big bads, right? You know, the whole conspiracy comes to a head with the DNA aliens and all that stuff, and it's literally Ben's ability to empathize with his enemies, right? Because he was in that episode where he was stuck with the DNA alien captain.
Yeah,
what are they called?
Rhiney. I love that episode. Oh my god.
Yes, and he helps him out. He shows empathy. Here goes the theme again. Empathy. Where because of Ben's ability to, like, you know, help him out, despite the fact that he didn't want his help, but they were stuck together. That Rhiney comes back and he speaks on behalf of Ben, and Ben kind of like listens to what the DNA alien chiefs are saying, and they're like, hey dude, yeah, it sucks that you guys are dying out, like I get that, but maybe killing everybody else so you don't die alone isn't the way to go. How about this? And then, he goes and he reroutes their fucking DNA so that they can continue, living. And he just kind of talks them out of it.
And that's a good example of his character growth. Because before, especially classic, it's more, punch first, ask questions later.
Yeah, literally. But he does the complete opposite. He moves past that, and he just has a talk with them, and he finds a better solution, a genuine solution. Because if maybe he could have just turned into Way Big. No, wait, did they find Way Big? I don't think they found Way Big.
That's season 3.
Oh, that's season 3. Okay, then yeah. Well,
he did.
If he wanted to be an absolute jerk, he could have just turned into Way Big right then and there, crashed their ship, and but he didn't do that. He didn't do that. And I respect Ben for that. And whatever. That tangent aside, in season 3, because he obviously, he just did this. He was given the responsibility by Azimuth. He proved that in a leadership position, he can take charge and he can speak with more than just his fists. But he's also only 15 years old, 15 or 16. That would have gotten to my head. That would have absolutely gone to my head. So when Ben and Kevin are trying to
asshole because of it. If I save the universe, I'll be milking that shit forever.
Bro, so I absolutely do not blame Ben for when him and Kevin are trying to crack the Omnitrix, and then Azimuth shows up and he's like, "Hey, don't do that. You're not ready for that kind of power yet." What do you mean I'm not ready for that power yet? Shut up. And then, it blows up and Kevin turns into everything and he's all weird, and Ben loses some aliens and whatever. It's the sort of thing that kind of, it makes sense. That whole backsliding, because there's a fine line between learning your lesson and living as you are now, and then, getting a little bit too big for your britches and being like, well, I should know, I should have access to this. I already did this. So then, I should that. And that's again, progress not being linear. Just because you're really good at one thing doesn't mean that you're not going to let your own flaws get in the way of you.
Yeah.
And they do. Do I believe that this could have been absolutely avoided had Azimuth just given him access again, especially since Vilgax was attacking? Absolutely. But we needed a season 3, right?
Honestly, I think I like season 3 the best, but for a different reason than what I like about season 2 is that overarching story between the two seasons of uncovering this alien conspiracy with the hybrids, building up that alien force, and ultimately saving the universe. I love that so much, and I love an overarching story, especially when every episode doesn't have to be exactly about the overarching threat. There are those standalone episodes that we were talking about. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, but during that final battle in season 2, Ben decided, since he got master control, Ben decided to turn into Cannon Bolt and he said he's feeling nostalgic, right? I don't know if you noticed this, but core members from the rest of the team are also aliens from Classic. So we have the forearms, we have the accelerate, we have an upgrade. And I think that's it.
No, but you're right. I mean, we had a heat blast as well.
And there's heat blast, and there's a Galvin, a gray matter technically. But I don't know, it's just there's 6 classic aliens within that party right there. And to me that's I don't know, that's kind of to me that's a little bit of fan service because it's just nice to see. You know what I mean?
Just a tad, but it was fan service in a very tasteful way.
Yeah.
They didn't just force this in here.
Yes.
Manny and Helen were introduced in a very natural way. Yeah. Alan was introduced in a very natural way. There were upgrades and shit. Yeah, that. All of that. It wasn't forced. It did not feel shoehorned in at all. So, and I really like that too. I like it when things come together in a way where it's kind of oh, this was planned.
And also Ben turned into Upchuck and Way Big in those same episodes, which again are from Classic, not the Classic 10. So that's another interesting thing where the aliens Ben chose, other than Swamp Fire or whatever, is from classic, but not the classic 10. I just think that's interesting.
No, and I always forget that Way Big was from OG Ben 10 because my whenever I think of Way Big, I always think of that scene where he's trying to destroy the little gate that's supposed to transport all of the DNA alien ships and stuff. But you're right. Way Big from OG Ben 10. That's true. Man, season 2 was amazing. But you were talking about season 3 why that was like your favorite season for other reasons.
For Alien Force, it's just I like season 3 a lot, not because of the whole overarching Vilgax stuff, because I really feel like Vilgax was done dirty in this show and like onwards, right? Because again, I think Vilgax being this mysterious like bad guy where we know very little about him. There's not a lot of interactions. We're just told like, he's the most ruthless warlord in the galaxy. I like that a lot. Just I like the mystery behind him. Seeing more of him kind of takes away from that. But what I do like about the series in general are these side episodes. If you want to call them filler, if you want to call them filler, you can. I don't think they're filler because like they serve purposes. I love those filler air quotes episodes because one, we get to see our heroes like living their normal lives and like we get to see the normality of what these guys go through outside of the alien threats that they will ultimately have to deal with within the episode. We get to see, again, a lot of character development, I think, with each other, right? Like their relationships build. I love the jokes, right? And like I love how they're not like tongue in cheek, right? They're very much, especially Ben and Kevin, right? They're very much like best friends, like literally making fun of each other whenever they can, you know, like in like the first episode or 2 of the series where Ben uses like a transformation mask to look like a DNA alien. Ben asks Kevin, "So how do I look?" Kevin answers, "About the same.
Little taller.
And also the pauses between like the beats of the jokes or like the punchline of the jokes are so masterfully done, I think. And that's like something Cartoon Network has always been great at, or at least in the past, you know, like silence does a lot, you know.
It does.
And
it does.
Even with like that episode where Gwen was wanting Kevin to take her to the dance, the same Big Chill mommy episode. This episode starts with her walking up to Kevin, just drops the flyer, and all she goes is ahem, and then pulls out Kevin from working from the car, not saying a single word, just a gesture pointing down to the car, and he's like, "What? You want me to take you to the dance? Okay, great. See you today." Like stuff like that, but just those little moments, right? Those little normal moments are so important because it makes it feel like these guys are still living their lives. You know, like this is still a living world or a breathing world that things are constantly happening, even if it's something very mundane and like normal. I love seeing the normal stuff compared or in contrast with the intergalactic stuff, especially with season 3 having multiple episodes where they are doing just that. There's a lot of misadventures of different alien missions. And I think that's really cool because it's expanding the Ben 10 universe outside of Earth. And I love that so much. I want to see more of that. And we do get more of that.
Yeah, and even though episodes that take place within Earth, right? I wouldn't call them fillers at all because when you need that to ground yourself, to remind yourself that, well, they're still teenagers and they still live day to day. Like when
They're
Ben
still
gets
going
grounded,
to high school.
Do you remember when Ben gets grounded?
Yes.
that would have made no sense if it was just alien battle after alien battle after alien battle. Like, yeah, like some of these episodes begin and Ben is in his like soccer uniform, or they're chilling outside of that fast food place with the chili fries and the drink and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Mr.
Ben
Smoothies. Mr. Smoothies as well.
Mr. Smoothies, yeah, with the little face on the drink. there's still they have an everyday life. They're still going to school. They're still like having relationships outside of the ones they build with the plumber's kids and the aliens. You know, Julie was just a regular girl.
Yeah.
Luckily she wasn't super put off, or actually at all put off, by the fact that Ben was the hero turning into aliens and all that stuff. But before I forget, the Beats situation, hilarious. There is one specific scene that I will always go back to because I love it so much, where Kevin says something like, "Gwen, you have to treat a car like you treat a woman," and she just goes like, "Go on," and there's this pause. No, I feel like I've made a mistake of some kind.
One of the best jokes in the show.
Oh man, Kevin.
Well, yeah, that's a prime example.
Yeah. The beats are good. They keep that like lightheartedness there. I like they're the way they interact with each other also feels very natural. And I love the non-filler episodes because it does like make it believable that these characters continue to exist after the episode is over. There are a lot of shows out there where I genuinely, it takes at the very end when everything is like settled and like the bad guy's been killed and whatever, and then the characters are just kind of like basking in the glory of freedom. A lot of those scenes feel like, well, what do you guys actually do? Like, what do you talk about? Like, how do you interact with each other? Like, this feels a little forced, you know?
Yeah.
I never got that with Ben 10. Like, these characters interact in a very natural way. Like, I believe that they would be friends. They're family, you know?
It makes every episode worth watching, and I never want to skip an episode. Do I have my favorite episodes? Yes. But, like, if I have the time to fully watch, like, every episode through it, like fully watch the show every season, I will, and I will have so much fun. And that's still like to the other shows as well, Classic and Ultimate Alien, but like Alien Forces does that so well. And I also absolutely love the episodes where we have like moments with Paradox, moments with Azimuth, right? Like very like key core like opportunities to learn about not just the universe but about the Omnitrix, right? Because there's even now after Omniverse and stuff where there's a lot known about the Omnitrix, there's still so much mystery behind it, especially like how it works, like the processes, right? You know, like all the knowledge Ben 10,000 has, Ben still doesn't have that in this time. And it's cool to see the progression of respect that Azimuth gains with Ben, because you know he's always been that grouchy old man that's just like, you're not who are you, why do you have the most powerful weapon in the universe, my creation,
my Noah's Ark, why is it in the hands of some human?
Yeah, like you don't deserve this, but just because you've proven yourself time and time again, I'm gonna let you have it, but don't mess up, okay? But like just learning more about the Omnitrix, learning more of the lore behind the show, especially with like different alien races. I love those episodes. And I think it really slows down a little bit in a good way, where like in terms of like this is good pacing of like, okay, we're not going to take this entire episode just to like give you the history of the Omnitrix or whatever, but here's like a keynote, a nice little but important fun fact about the Omnitrix you can use, Ben. And then he like takes that and runs with it for like the next few episodes. And it's awesome.
And I do like that. I like that every time like a new little thing gets introduced, just like you said, Ben runs with it for the next couple episodes, because it's like, oh, this is a new upgrade, and it doesn't just get thrown to the sidelines. Yeah. You know what I mean? And the ones that do get thrown to the sidelines, there's a reason for that. Like I said earlier, Alien X. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to use that guy either.
Yeah. Also, did you know that Serena, one of the voices, is played by Kari Walgren?
What?
Yeah. And also Charmcaster.
Shout out to Kari Walgren again. Thank you for being on our show.
Yeah, shout out to Kari. And she's also Charmcaster.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, I love that episode too, by the way.
Very good episode.
Another very real human thing where Charmcaster plays on Kevin's insecurities and tries to. She does charm him, but there are aspects where he believes that she does have a point with the whole like, well, if Gwen really loved you, why she cared about you, why isn't she trying to help you, get back to normal? And then at the end, for Ben to confront Kevin and be like, actually, dude, you really hurt Gwen, and it wasn't because of the charm or the kiss. It's because she has been studying night and day to try to get you back to normal. Like, why would you doubt that?
Yeah, that's such a great episode. Yeah,
it's an amazing episode. All of it, like so many of them. I love Ben 10 Alien Force.
Yeah.
I wish that sort of that spark had carried over to the live action movie, because I really wanted to like that. I really wanted to like that live action movie.
Alien Swarm? God, I barely remember that. I mean, like the best thing we got from that, you know what's really, I don't know if you know this, it's a cool fun fact. The actual car, Kevin's car, that was a prize in a raffle back then, and some guy won it, and
in Texas.
To the best of my knowledge, he still has it, and like it's still working. Like it's still in good condition, the car.
Oh wow. Right? I did not know that, but I do remember the giveaway, and I don't know what I was watching, but I do remember the banner coming on Cartoon Network, and it said the car was won by so and so in Texas.
Yeah.
That's it.
That the question of like, what fictional vehicle that would you want? Like, out of anything, would you want the DeLorean from Back to the Future, the Mystery Machine, the Batmobile, whatever? Kevin's car is it's like a top contender, just because like of how like all the cool alien tech that it has, especially with the upgrades over the years that it gets.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, fair. Upgraded Kevin's car with when it like gets bigger and it moves around and it's got like all that upgraded alien tech. Yeah, sure. But
even towards like when we get to Omniverse, like his car is like the, I don't know what's called, the shell, I guess, like the metal is actually Titanite, the diamond head material, like the hardest material in the universe. So like,
nice,
super durable. Like it's very, I don't know, it's very cool. Yeah.
For me though, I don't really fight aliens. That's not like my thing. So I think I'd take the DeLorean.
Fair enough.
But still. A very cool looking car.
It's a cool muscle car, man. It's badass.
So jealous of that Texan.
Right? But yeah, some of my favorite moments in the show, I think it's always when Wrath comes on the screen.
Wrath?
Yeah. The tiger alien?
Oh, this guy. Oh, well, he does. Yeah, doesn't he show up like at the very end of season 3?
No, it's pretty early. Like I think midway through. Yeah, when when Ben and the gang were about to go to the beach or whatever, they got stopped by like this ambassador from the planet Leota, and they're like, "Please take this peace offering, a baby, like one of their kind's babies, to this other planet that is at war with us, to stop the war." And they're like, okay. So they go, and because of the presence of this Tiffin, that's what it's called, like the baby alien, the Omnitrix short circuits, and now Ben is stuck as Wrath, the Apoplexian, and they go on like a little adventure to this planet. I'm not gonna say like the middle parts of it, but it's like it involves the Vrito brothers, and I love the Vrito brothers. But they get to like this planet, and they give the Tiffin to like the guy, the king of that planet, and he's like, "Thank you." He eats the baby, and Wrath freaking loses it. He's like, "You ate the baby?" It's like, "Yes, it's a rare delicacy on my world," or whatever. And then Wrath goes, "Eating babies is not cool," and he like jumps into the guy's throat, gets the baby out while knocking out his teeth. It is so freaking hilarious, the moment. Like the shit that he says after, he's like, if you hurt that planet ever again, if you don't call off this war, I just jumped down your throat, dude. If you don't call out this war, I'm gonna do it again and knit your intestines like a sweater. It is. Wrath is like probably one of the best aliens to watch in the entirety of the franchise. I love him so much.
Eating babies is not cool. Okay, that's funny. I don't remember a ton of Wrath. I remember him like during the Vilgax fight. That particular episode, man. Maybe I glossed over it on my recap, but that sounds okay. Yeah, I remember Wrath a bit. Like I remember him fighting with Vilgax and such. I don't remember that episode too well. I do remember that Ben was like stuck as Wrath for a little bit. Maybe I glossed over it in my recap, but that whole like eating babies is not cool. That's funny. Does Ben ever take on the personality traits or attributes of the alien race that he's on, or is that just always Ben?
I think it depends, right? I know that obviously the aliens have some impact to Ben, right? Like they are one and the same. They share DNA and all that stuff, right? They're connected for sure. Good examples is with Big Chill, right? When he overtook every transformation in that episode just because it was Big Chill's time to become a mamacita. And also there's a time in Omniverse where Swampfire was like undergoing a type of evolution, just like blooming technically, and how that affected Ben was like his face. It's like going through puberty. It's like going through puberty again, where like he's just getting shit ton of acne and stuff like that, and then like eventually Swampfire's like a whole new redesign, and it's like grown up or whatever.
Yeah.
So
okay.
in that sense, yes. I think it depends on certain aliens where like with Wrath's example, that species is already hyper aggressive in its like within its DNA. Like it's just that's what that
there we
is.
go. Yeah, that's what I was asking. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like Ben would have jumped into that mouth anyways in human form, I believe, to save the baby, because I know that Ben would not have thought twice about sacrificing himself to save somebody else, especially somebody so innocent as a baby who literally didn't do anything. But the extra stuff, right? The whole like I'm gonna tie your entrails up together and stitch them. Yeah, like that's got to be Wrath.
One of the best things about Wrath is like when he talks, right? It's like, let me tell you something, and he says like the full name and title of like whoever he's talking to. So like with that king or whatever, he was like, let me tell you something. Here's the name of the king, and like king of this planet, whatever. And he says his whole spiel. It's like every time he's about to talk to someone, let me tell you something, Mauro Piquera. Blah, 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 blah. It's so funny. And like, it's kind of respectful in a way because he's like saying the full name, saying the full title. So like, it's weird.
Yeah, that is true. I like that. Because it's not, he doesn't, the insults aren't even insults. It's just, if you're taking offense to what he's saying, it's because he's saying something that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. There was also a quick little thing. Another thing, I guess all my gripes with Alien Force are Vilgax related. I don't like how Vilgax came in and had like a sort of like, Ben, I need your help sort of situation.
Oh, that
and
episode,
they go to his right. They go to his home planet because Ghost Freak was taken over and all that stuff, only for him to just kind of switch at the end.
Yeah.
So because like at the very end when he shows up again, he doesn't even care about the Omnitrix. He just wants to kill Ben. Yeah. Maybe we didn't need that, hey Ben, I need your help episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, I think that's just an excuse to get Ghost Freak back into like
to the mix,
into the mix, into the plot and stuff. He gets Ghost Freak back into the Watch, so that's cool, and then that pays off. That episode pays off in Omniverse. Where like there's this whole season in Omniverse dedicated to Ghost Freak being the main villain of it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this. I love Ben 10. I love how all interconnected it is. They don't just forget about their characters and introduce new ones. They will just they will scale up using the characters that they've introduced before. That's amazing.
Yeah. And the designs of every alien is pretty damn unique. Like, each of them feels special in their own way. Even with, like, what we were talking about earlier, like, I've always seen certain aliens, like, in the original, not the original, in the Alien Force lineup, right? Yeah, like, Swampfire, I saw as a mix of Heat Blast and Wildvine. And, like, I can see Echo has, like, some Ditto type of DNA in there, just because, like, they duplicate and stuff like that. So, like, I always thought, like, there's some cool fusion-esque stuff happening. But even so, like, they're all unique with their own powers. Even the Alien Force lineup, it's like they have more tricks up their sleeves than the OG-10. The OG-10 is very, like, one note, right? Like forearms is the strong one and stuff, you know? Like, Heat Blast, he does fire, and that's, like, his thing. Ripjaws he's a fish.
Underwater, right?
Yeah. Like, they have their specific things, whereas Alien Force and so on, they can do more and more things, which is really cool.
Right, you have Goop, who can just, you know, move around, like, stealth and stuff, but he can also fight. You have Jet Ray, who can not only fly, but he can also zoom with his eyes and stuff. Yeah, okay.
And so with that, I want to ask you, I think this is a good way to end off the episode, your favorite alien in Alien Force.
Wow, okay.
It's a hard question for me.
I'm going to have to say either, just because I love the designs of these two. Big contenders between Big Chill and Spider Monkey.
Wow.
Leaning towards Big Chill because he can fly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And Spider Monkey just because there was this Ben 10 Alien Force video game that I think it was just, I know there's a couple, but this one was just called Ben 10 Alien Force. And Spider Monkey was my favorite one to play as because he was really quick and he had a lot of close combat, like, fight things, but he could shoot little web things, so he was like back as well.
Yeah,
but I think, like, gun to the head, Big Chill. Yeah. Amazing design, amazing that he can fly. I love his powers. Very useful to have. What about you?
It's hard, man. Like, I feel the same way with Classic. Like, each of them have great designs, not just, like, in their powers, but, like, just how they look and stuff. They're all so well done.
Hey, you can choose anybody that shows up in Alien Force, even that weird Diamond Head and Chrome mix.
Chroma Stone is so freaking cool, dude. Like, I love Chroma Stone so much, and I think it's, like, harder because, like, it's hard for me because I've had the toys, right? I had the original 10 toys. I've had all 10 for Alien Force, lost them throughout the years, but recently, actually, like, within the past couple of years, I regained at least the Alien Force toys, like the main 10. I don't think I have Alien X. Yes, I do. Yeah, I have the first 10. And, you know, and this is also, like, another added element of, like, why I love Ben 10 so much. I frequently wear a Ben 10 Alien Force leather jacket. I have the Omnitrixes, right? And I wear that Ben 10 jacket, like, on the casual, you know, like on the regular.
Yeah, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Up until we started doing this, whenever I pictured you in my brain, up until me and Chaz went to Fort Myers and to like meet up and stuff. Whenever I pictured you in my brain, it was always with that Ben 10 jacket.
I love that. Yeah. So, like, I have a deep affinity for this series, and, like, those aliens, man, God, Swampfire is just straight up a badass. Spider Monkey, I think it's cool. I think it's on, like, the bottom of the list. Goop is so freaking cool. Like, I think he's very underrated. Humongosaur is pretty dope. You know, Jet Ray is sick. But I think at the top of my list, Chroma Stone and Big Chill are probably at the top of my list. They're just so freaking cool.
Would have been number 3 for me, but yeah, I understand that. Like, those design wise, amazing. Powers, oh my god.
Yeah.
Get out of here. I think just for Alien Force, that's pretty fair. But if you had to,
and then, like, there's Wrath. Absolutely. But no, if we're talking, if we're talking all aliens from Alien Force, that's
we'll do that at a later date. Let's save that. save that.
It's hard, man.
But just to round it out, because you did say I also had 2 and I ended up choosing 1. Don't think, just say chromosome or Big Chill. I said don't think. Gun to the head right now.
Big Chill.
There we go.
He's just so cool. Get it?
Yeah.
Get
Okay.
it?
All right. No more puns ever. No more puns for the rest of the week. You're done.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Razzle Dazzle Show. Be sure to let us know what you think about this episode somewhere on the internet. Follow us on our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure to rate us 5 stars and leave a comment down below. We'll catch you on the next one.